Markets are starting to try to rebound into the end of the year. 1 day left for that. 4 days of trading left for next week. So let's take a look at what is going on in the markets and see what we can make of it. The Dow right now, markets are closing in a few minutes, up about 1.13, 370 points. The S&P up 1.87, almost 2%. NASDAQ up almost 3%, 2.67 as we speak right now. Let's see what bonds are doing. 10 years down just a little bit. And let's go ahead. No major news right now, driving the markets or a catalyst for what's going on. I think what we've experienced the last few days, or at least the last week, is a lot of tax loss selling. And now the rebound buying back in to be ready for the rally towards the end of the year. And as we looked at last year in this time frame, in December, the markets can rally into the new year a little bit. First week of January last year, markets popped about 4 or 5% after this rally here at the end of the year, and rally another 2 or 3%, 4% into the end of the year. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. The interesting thing is the Dow has found support on the major trend line, kind of like we talked about earlier. It could kind of continue to march its way on down this trend line as we go along. So not sure what kind of a bounce this is going to continue to get. We'll see what it looks like tomorrow to see if there's enough momentum rebuying. I know there's a lot of capital on the sides, a lot of capital on the table that needs to go to work, and there's nothing really stressing out there. I mean, credit markets are starting to crack a little bit, commercial credit markets, so that could weigh on the markets as we get into next year, but we've got a little bit of time before any damage happens there. And if the credit markets do crack, the Fed would probably likely do something. That's what caused the Fed pivot in 2018, but we did not have inflation. So I'm not sure a full pivot would be a solution, but something. The Fed could potentially do something to prop up credit markets without a pivot like they did back in 2018 when that happened. Here's the NASDAQ staying below trend, and series of continuing lower highs and lower lows, maintaining and respecting the trend. If this is a potential double bottom, triple bottom scenario where the NASDAQ could march on up, pop the trend line again, and continue down to put in a lower low, that is a good possibility and likelihood. And that would represent a bounce in the NASDAQ from here, another potential 5 or 6%, which would be a nice little end of the year rally over the next day or so, going into next week before all of the recession watch concerns start to come out, and then inflation concerns resurface and the Fed concerns resurface. Same thing on the S&P, continuing with the lower lows, lower highs and lower lows. Again, could move up, kiss this trend line, and continue its march downward. Let's take a look at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin just kind of hanging out, wearing people out, a little pop here, a little drop there. This is on the daily chart, but just basically consolidating, cruising along, waiting for something else to happen, waiting to see if there's any more contagion that's going to come out from the FTX situation, if Binance is going to crash or if Tether is going to collapse, those types of things. And in general, just waiting for the next leg down. So when markets take the next leg down and break those October, November lows, then Bitcoin most likely is going to go down, test this lower range of the 15,000. What's most probable, most likely, not definite, is a test of this $15,000 range. Could most likely get a bounce off to that to check this 18,000, 19,000 range to see if it can break through there, and then ultimately roll over and set a new low and drop down to that $10,000 to $13,000 range and kind of range in there for a while like it's doing here, and then try to potentially put a bottom in depending on what recession looks like, what inflation looks like, what the Fed looks like, and most importantly, the rest of the crypto space in terms of Tether, Binance, those types of things. So these are the things I'm looking at today. I'll see you in the next video.